Let's talk about something that doesn't get enough attention, but changes everything the moment you understand it, and even more so the moment you embody it. Masculine presence. This isn't just a buzzword or something you throw around to sound confident. It's an energy, a frequency, a psychological force that you either radiate or you don't. And here's the truth. A woman can sense that presence before you even speak a single word. You see, in a world that's constantly loud, where everyone's trying to prove something, show something, post something, true presence is rare. That's why it's powerful. When a man walks into a room and doesn't need to be noticed, but can't help but be noticed, that's presence. When he isn't trying to dominate the space, but his energy naturally commands respect, that's presence. What makes this presence magnetic isn't physical size or money or charm. It's rooted in emotional stability. It's grounded in how well you know yourself. A man who is emotionally self-contained, who doesn't react impulsively, who knows how to pause before he speaks, that man is deeply attractive because he communicates something primal to a woman: safety. Not just physical safety, but psychological and emotional safety. And when a woman feels safe, she naturally lets her guard down. That's when her feminine energy flows. That's when real connection begins. Now, I'm not talking about being cold or stoic or mysterious just for the sake of appearing in control. I'm talking about being anchored. You are unshaken by her mood swings. You don't crumble when she tests your boundaries. You don't perform just to win her over. You simply exist, fully, unapologetically, as yourself. And that's rare. This kind of presence requires that you do the inner work. It's not built in the gym, although physical discipline helps. It's built in silence, in reflection, in healing the parts of you that still seek approval. It's built when you stop outsourcing your worth to whether or not she likes you and start standing in the truth of your own value, whether she sees it or not. That's what Jessica Opra means when she speaks about being grounded in your masculinity. Presence is felt in how you hold eye contact without needing to dominate, in how you listen, truly listen, without planning your next move, in how you sit with discomfort instead of filling it with noise. These are subtle cues, but women pick up on them instantly. Her body responds to your energy before her mind even processes what's happening. You don't need to be the loudest man in the room. You need to be the calmest, because confidence isn't noise, it's peace. And when you cultivate that kind of inner peace, you shift from being just another option to being the standard. So if you want her to want you instantly, and I mean not just physically, but emotionally, spiritually, start here, not with what you say, not with what you wear, but with how present you are to your own life, how rooted you are in your own truth. Because when your presence speaks louder than your words, everything else becomes effortless. And here's the bottom line. Women don't fall for the man who tries to impress them. They fall for the man who doesn't need to, because his presence already says it all. If there's one thing I've seen over and over again, it's this. Most men either speak too much or not at all, and neither of those opens a woman's heart. What she's craving, and I mean deeply craving, is a man who knows how to speak her emotional language without trying to win her over. That's a level of mastery most don't talk about, but it changes everything. Because attraction is not just about looks or status. It's about how you make her feel. Now, let's be honest. A lot of men have been taught to either suppress their emotions or to overcompensate by becoming what they think a woman wants. They go from one extreme to the other, either emotionally shut down or overly eager to please, and both lead to the same result: disconnection. Why? Because they're not grounded in truth. When a man speaks with emotional clarity, not manipulation, not neediness, he creates a different kind of impact. He becomes memorable. Not because he's reciting the right lines or playing some dating strategy, but because his words are aligned. He's not speaking to impress. He's speaking from awareness. And women feel that. You have to understand something. Women are intuitive beings. She's listening to your words, yes, but more than that, she's reading your tone, your timing, your intention. If your energy says, I need you to like me, she'll sense it immediately, even if your words sound confident. On the other hand, when your energy says, I see you, but I don't need your validation to see myself, that's when she leans in. That's when something shifts. This is emotional fluency, and it's rooted in presence and authenticity. It's asking her a question not just to fill the silence, but because you care about her mind. It's responding not to control the narrative, but because you're genuinely connected to the moment. A man who does this, who speaks her emotional language without chasing her, is rare. And rare is attractive. Because he's not performing. He's not bending himself to fit her expectations. He's not afraid of silence, of emotion, of depth. He welcomes it. And in doing so, he becomes a mirror for her to open up to. That's what real intimacy is. It's not built through compliments or constant pursuit. It's built through resonance, through the kind of presence that says, I see the real you, and I'm not trying to possess it. That's where trust begins. Now, none of this means you ignore your desire. It means you own it without becoming a slave to it. You don't repress your attraction, you hold it with dignity. And that balance, that restraint, that depth, that's what sets you apart. Because when a woman feels emotionally seen without feeling emotionally smothered, she starts to attach. Not out of desperation, but out of desire. It's a kind of connection that bypasses the surface. It hits her soul, and she can't help but respond to it. So don't chase her, understand her. Don't try to impress her. Communicate with her, and most importantly, don't speak just to be heard. Speak to connect. Because the man who knows how to speak her emotional language, calmly, honestly, without needing her to complete him, becomes the man she can't stop thinking about. And that's not game, that's growth, that's power, that's presence in action. One of the most misunderstood aspects of attraction is this idea of dominance. For years, it's been distorted into something loud, aggressive, controlling, and completely disconnected from what actually works. Real dominance, the kind that awakens a woman's deepest feminine energy, doesn't come from overpowering her. It comes from something much more subtle, much more sacred. It comes from your ability to create psychological safety. And that begins not with control, but with containment. Containment doesn't mean limiting her. It means holding space for her, emotionally, energetically, spiritually. It means that when she's soft, you remain solid. When she's in her emotional waves, you're not drowning. You're the shore. She can express the fullness of who she is because she senses that you can handle it, that you don't fear her emotions, her complexity, or her depth. You meet it with grounded strength. And that right there is the most attractive thing you can offer. Because here's the truth. Many women are walking around guarded, not because they don't want love, but because they've been conditioned to believe that vulnerability isn't safe. They've opened themselves to men who didn't know how to hold them emotionally, who either shut down, lashed out, or disappeared when things got real. So now, even the strongest, most beautiful women often test not to manipulate, but to feel whether the ground beneath them is stable. That's where authentic dominance steps in. It's not about trying to lead her. It's about leading yourself so completely that she can relax in your presence. She feels your direction, not because you're forcing it, but because you're sure of where you're going. And she wants to follow that, not out of submission, but out of trust. This kind of strength doesn't need to shout. It's quiet. It's internal. It comes from emotional discipline, from knowing how to stay composed when tension rises, from listening without defensiveness, from choosing stillness over reaction. A woman is watching how you handle pressure, how you handle her truth, how you handle your own emotions. And based on that, she decides how deeply she can open to you. What makes this dynamic so powerful is that it's not based on fear, it's based on freedom. She doesn't have to perform. She doesn't have to shrink herself. She gets to be fully expressed, fully feminine, fully real, because you're not shaken by it. You hold the container. You provide the emotional structure that allows her softness to emerge without shame. This is the missing link in so many relationships. Men are taught to lead physically or financially, but not emotionally. And yet emotional leadership is what builds long-term attraction. It's what sustains desire. Because the truth is, the more emotionally safe a woman feels,